Welcome, everyone, to the Bear Watch Project, a podcast where two gay bears discuss everything and anything film and TV. Hello, my name is Garrett. I love movies.
And my name is Oscar, and I like television. In this week's episode, we'll be discussing the Wicked movie.
Wicked Part 1. I raised
Part
the
1.
roof.
I guess that's important to throw in there. I was so caught off guard.
You didn't know?
I did not know.
That's a little bit surprising. Because maybe you didn't pay attention to the marketing and how everyone was complaining that they weren't saying, one, that it was a part one of a movie, and two, that it was a musical. Because they kind of weren't saying it was a musical, even though it's obvious it's a musical. I don't know.
I don't know how people didn't get that it was going to be a musical. Even I've never seen Wicked. The production, I've heard only 2 songs in my whole life from that production.
Which 2 songs?
I knew it was a musical. Popular and Defying Gravity, of course.
Okay, the 2 songs.
The 2 songs.
That makes sense. I almost saw it when I was in college, but I was too far back in line to get any ticket. So I've never seen it live. I've listened to the album a lot. I am someone who enjoys Act 1s of musicals way more than Act 2 of musicals. So this movie is exactly what I wanted to see. And I'm excited for Part 2. But I'm trying, I know everything that happens. I'm trying not to, re-spoil myself for everything. So I was, really looking forward to this movie.
I wasn't. I knew that I wanted to watch it. Just because I had heard so much about Wicked. I was also, so I'll preface this by saying I was never a Wizard of Oz fan.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever seen Wizard of Oz in its entirety. I've seen clips here and there, so I pretty much get the gist of it. But I was not, it wasn't something that I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, I totally see that. I've seen Wizard of Oz. I rewatched Wizard of Oz before seeing Wicked. I can respect that it's a good movie. I don't think it's for me. It's a little boring sometimes, and it's hard to just pay attention to. It's technically amazing. It's just a little bit boring.
Maybe rewatching it as an adult will feel a little different for me, but as a kid, I just did not like it.
Rewatching it as an adult is what made me think it was boring. I thought it was boring, growing up too, but even now, it's just I don't know. The songs aren't super catchy. The good catchy ones are at the beginning. There's just a lot of walking. I don't know. And now we learned that Glinda could have given Dorothy a train.
Yeah, that's true.
But before we get deeper into Wicked, we have a segment. What have you been watching this week?
What have I been watching? Oh, I've been watching a lot. I've been watching one queer film per night this entire week.
Work. What's the list so far?
So far, there's a film called Temblores, which is quakes, I guess, in English. An evangelical man comes out and is shunned by his family and his entire town, and it's kind of it's funny. I made this list of all the movies that I have access to, and I was I have to put them in order of how much I've been wanting to watch them, but I also have to alternate a sad and a happy movie. You know what I mean? And that was definitely not a happy movie.
Yeah, it definitely sounded super lighthearted while you were describing it.
I know. The first one I started off with was Femme, which is a great film.
Okay.
If you ever have a chance to watch it, Femme. It's about this drag queen who gets assaulted, but months later she runs into her attacker, and she starts kind of going into his circle, and because she's out of drag, so he doesn't know it's her.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't want to spoil too much because it has an unexpected ending and twist, and it's one of those art house movies that drives a conversation.
Is it like
Um,
is it essentially a revenge movie in that sense?
I guess so. Yes.
Hmm. Interesting. You know what
Hmm.
you should add on your list? You've already made your list, but I want to watch it. But
What is?
it's the drag queen like vampire movie that came out earlier this year. That's got, I think, is it Heidi in Closet that's in it? Um
Really? I have not heard of this.
it I know Crystal Method is in it. I think did you watch not the current season of Drag Race UK, but the previous season? Season 5?
Yes. Hmm.
Remember the American that was in it?
No.
Oh, I forget
Who's,
her
who are
name.
we talking about?
Let me do a Google drag queen vampire movie. It's called Slay. Um, and it's on Tubi. Yeah, it's Heidi in Closet, Crystal Method, um, Caramel, and then Trinity the Tuck.
Interesting. No, I
Hmm.
haven't even heard of this.
You gotta add it to your list. I haven't seen it, but I want to. I just haven't tried to get on Tubi at all to like figure it out.
Yeah. My feel good movie was Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe.
Casual, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
What's it about?
It's just it's one of those coming of age films. I don't want to give too much away, but
Okay.
it's a coming of age film.
Okay. Wonderful.
It's set in 1980s El Paso. Um, it's got good vibes. It's a it's a feel good movie for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's mostly what I've been watching this week.
Did you watch the Drag Race UK finale?
I did.
I haven't, but I know who
Um,
wins, so we can discuss it.
I mean, expected.
Yeah, I agree.
I I really wanted Lavoie to win, but Karen did her thing. I just feel like it was very expected.
It's expected from either of them. Like Lavoie's gonna come in for a Drag Race UK versus the world, and she's gonna win it. Like Lavoie's just kind of that like fan favorite person to do that. Um, and then I haven't started watching Drag Race Canada, but they also US Drag Race um put its Meet the Queens out today.
They did. I always look out to see if there's any queens from Chicago. I didn't see any.
I feel like the
I don't
last
think.
ones we got were Denali and Kimura Hall, right?
Yeah.
Denali should have been farther
Mhm.
on.
So it's been a while since we've had a Chicago queen.
Have you seen either of them live?
I think Denali one time a long, long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the club that I think I saw her in isn't even there anymore.
Oh no. I've only seen one Drag Race Queen live.
Who is that?
Sasha Colby.
Oh, that's a that's a good one too.
Yes.
See live, I guess.
I wish I saw more of her second show, because her second show she was like even more naked than before. She was giving it. I was impressed. It was also my first drag show. It sucks to go to your first drag show and then it's like probably the best person who's doing it. Um,
Hmm.
yeah.
Because then
Oopsies.
nothing else is gonna live up to it.
I mean, it's been like a couple months since I've seen anything live drag, so like it would surprise me nonetheless.
You know, one of my favorite drag performers ever went on to be on Drag Race later,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like shocked, and I was rooting for them. But and she didn't get very far. But Naisha Lopez,
Okay.
she would put on like such great shows, and I was such a fan. So I was excited when she finally went on Drag Race. But yeah, there's a lot of good local drag that people just need to go watch.
Agreed. Go support your local drag artists. Moving along, I've been watching a lot of sitcom television. I got into the new show St. Denis Medical, which is really good. It's very funny. It's made by the people who did Superstore. So I started binge watching Superstore, and that's been my comfort show right now, which I love. It's very good. I just started season 3, so after the tornado hit. Spoilers.
So, have you watched it before?
Yeah, I watched it as it came out, and now that I work big retail, it is kind of scary watching the show again. It's like, oh my gosh, I do this at work. Why am I watching this at home? Kind of situation.
Yeah, I worked retail for so many years, and I'm like, every time I watch it, I'm like, yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly right.
What else have I been watching? I saw Moana 2 in theaters. It's fine. We can move on. The music is okay. There's one, like, the villain song in it is like, why is this a villain song? This isn't even a villain. It's just okay. I realize now as an adult, because I took a long break from watching Moana, and then I watched the first one before seeing the new one. And Maui, if I wasn't a child right now, Maui
Mhm.
would be why I'm gay. For sure.
Wait, what? What?
Maui would be like, you know, when you're like growing up and like you just like see things that like get you interested in men. You know what I mean by that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah.
Oh, gay awakening.
Yeah. Maui is some person's gay awakening because he is beefy and he likes to show it off. And then in like the gainer wise, with him trying to grow Hey Hey and Pua, it's very
Mm-hmm.
encourager energy. It's very funny. And then his arms are just thick. His arms are so thick. And they gave him nipples in the second movie.
Did he not have nipples in the first one?
None of the men have nipples in the first movie. And now they all
What?
do. Uh-huh.
That is hilarious.
And yes, one of his gets grabbed in the movie. I'm just saying, it was giving. I was thank you. And then if you stayed through the end credits, there's an even hotter character that is revealed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the important stuff about Moana 2. You're welcome, everyone. Not a review of the actual movie, just giving you the eye candy information. It's just a nothing movie. It's a big old nothing burger. It should have been a TV show. Oh, speaking of television shows, Skeleton Crew started Tuesday, I think. Tuesday? Monday? It might have been Monday. It was Monday. Skeleton Crew started the new Star Wars television show. I watched the first 2 episodes. It's good. I want to see more. I'm intrigued.
I have so much backed up Star Wars stuff to watch.
It's okay. This is all unrelated. This takes place after the Empire has fallen. You're just following a bunch of random kids from a planet that get stuck on a ship. So it's kind of like Goonies in space. It's giving that like 80s nostalgia energy, maybe 90s. I'm not sure when Goonies came out. So it's very fun. A lot of it's practical. There's still a lot of the Star Wars CGI, but like I'm really enjoying it. I want to see more. And then Dune Prophecy, I'm a couple episodes behind, but I did enjoy the premiere of that show.
I need to watch. I haven't watched Dune Part 2.
I know
I
this.
still need to watch.
You gotta get on that.
I do. It just seems like such a chore to watch, honestly.
What if I said there was a gay character in it? There's not, but like, what if that tricked you into watching it?
That, you know what? You will get me into watching stuff if it's a gay character, because I love to dissect what they do with every gay character.
Mm-hmm. And then I want to get what I'm looking forward to. I just got a bunch of Blu-rays. So I'm gonna get into Hunger Games, which I've seen, Pirates of the Caribbean, which I've seen. I got a Ted Lasso Blu-ray, so I'm gonna start rewatching Ted Lasso. And then 2 Marvel shows are getting releases this month. Hawkeye, which I really want to get because of the holiday season,
Mm-hmm.
and Loki season 2 is the other 4K being released, which I'm upset about because I want other shows out before Loki season 2. I'm just saying. Unless Ms. Marvel and She-Hulk are released in March, maybe that's when they'll release those, but I want those on physical media now, please. But yeah, that's really all I'm excited for. And then tonight, oh my gosh, Abbott Elementary has an hour-long special tonight.
Do they? Oh, is it the crossover episode?
I don't think so. They're just doing both of their winter episodes today. So they're getting
Hmm.
like the last holiday school episode, and then there's a winter break episode. But they're like saying it's an hour long Abbott special tonight.
You know what I need?
What?
I need for them to announce season 2 pickup order for English teacher.
What's been your TV? What are the TV shows that you've been
My
keeping up
TV.
with?
So okay, so one is the good one is Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on season 4 now. No,
Okay.
I'm about to end season 3, and it's been like it's weird because that show is like it feels kind of slow, and then some crazy shit will happen, and that's it. That's all I've been watching, really.
So shall we get into Wicked?
Okay, well, let's get into Wicked.
Let's do it. So we kind of talked about like what we knew about Wicked beforehand. How much of like the history of Wicked do you know?
Before watching the movie, none of it.
Okay.
I just knew that it was a prequel to Wizard of Oz about the witches of Oz. That's all I knew.
I wouldn't say prequel, because it kind of takes place during Wizard of Oz as well. Um, so for those that are listening that don't know any of the history, I'll do it really quick. L. Frank Baum wrote The Wizard of Oz. It is very different to the 1939 movie adaptation of The Wizard of Oz,
Mm-hmm.
which is what became iconic and how these characters look. Like in L. Frank Baum's book, The Wicked Witch of the West is not green. That was something made for the movie.
Mm.
Gregory Maguire wanted to make a book about the Wizard of Oz. He kind of does a really like his shtick is taking pre-existing IP, like stories and characters, and then kind of writing essentially fan fiction about them. So Wicked is a
Yeah.
massive fanfic. So he
Oh.
wrote Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West, and then there's 3 sequels: Son of a Witch, A Lion Amongst the Men, and then Out of Oz. I think that's what the 4th one is called.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have the book. I have Wicked and Son of a Witch from Barnes and Noble. I've had this for like 10 years. Stephen Schwartz wanted to make a musical. Wicked was being worked on towards being a television show, but the thing about Wicked and Wizard of Oz, the book Wizard of Oz has no copyright on it, but the movie does. So we had to use different names. That's why the Wicked Witch of the West is given Elphaba. Frank L. Baum, FLB. Elphaba is why her name is that. I'm going into way too much, I know. And then the musical came out 21 years ago. Stephen Schwartz did the music. Winnie Holtzman, I think that's her name, wrote the book, and then they kind of wrote the script and did the movie. John M. Chu, the director, obviously. And so that's like a very, very, very TLDR of Wicked. There was almost a television show of the book, but that was scrapped. It's gonna be like a limited series, but that never happened.
I heard Salma Hayek was supposed to be playing something.
Exactly. So yeah, obviously, it won Tony Awards. It won 3. It did not win Best Musical that year. because Avenue Q did an insane campaign for the Tony Award, so it won the Tony for Best Musical instead of Wicked. And Idina Menzel obviously won her Tony. Kristen Chenoweth did not because she was in the same category as Idina Menzel. And that's kind of like what I know about the musical going into the movie outside of like knowing the plot of it more specifically. So what did you think about the movie in a non-spoiler way? What did you think? And give a rating.
What did I think about the movie? I thought it was fun. I thought it was a fun watch. I love the use of color. I was pleasantly surprised by a lot of the performances. Knowing nothing going in, I was very surprised by Ariana's performance in this movie. I don't know. How are we rating things?
Like out
5
of 10.
stars out of 10? I would say for somebody who doesn't like not like, but who doesn't gravitate towards musicals, I would have to give it like a 9, 8.5, 9. So it's pretty up there.
Yeah.
Even for me.
That's good. I'm glad you had a good time with it. The way you replied on Facebook made me worry.
I know. I was like, oh, I've seen it. Yeah, for me, it's a big thing if I don't hate a movie.
That's surprising.
I know. You know what? I think it was Ariana's performance right at the beginning that really got me hooked.
Okay.
Because the mannerisms, how she was acting, how she was, using her character was completely unexpected. I did not know that Glinda was the way she was, or that the characterizations were going to be that way. And I was just so caught off guard. I was like, what is she doing? What is this? Like, what's going on? And it made me a lot more interested to see what was going to happen.
That's fun. She did a really good job. In general, this movie is near perfect. I just have one complaint, but it's like the nitpickiest nitpick. We'll get into it later. But overall, like, I had a really good time with it. I've seen it twice. It is maybe my favorite movie of the year. And I'm someone that loves musicals. I love a movie musical and being able to have like that in your home. And I just had a great time. I think everything is amazing. Ariana is perfect. Cynthia Erivo is like the star for me. I love what Cynthia does more than Ariana, but I love what Ariana does as well. It's just amazing, like beginning to end. Oh, I guess I didn't give it out of 10. 10 out of 10. I loved it.
With some notes.
Well, no, it's such a nitpick. Like, it's more of I would have preferred this instead of this, but it doesn't hinder from me enjoying what's shown in front of me.
I was going to say that you're not wrong. Cynthia Erivo's vocals are obviously more powerful than Ariana's, even though Ariana has a great voice. Yeah, the songs were better. Those were the songs that were, I don't know. There's something about the quality of her voice. My only kind of thought on that is that I thought it would have been bigger. I thought her voice would have been a little bit more, for lack of a better word, boisterous.
Second movie.
Is that what we're?
Because like Elphaba's arc is finding her voice and willingness to just like, cause she already is someone who is like very outspoken and knows she's the center of attention and doesn't mind being the center of attention. Like, she can easily like take control of a room, but outside of like that, she's still like, especially singing, she's going to be like become more powerful as she gets older, because we're gonna like have a big time jump for Act 2. I don't know how they did it, filming these movies at the same time. I don't know how,
Oh, they
like,
did.
because yeah. So Universal spent $350 million at once to make both movies at the same time, which is the most
Wow.
amount of money they've ever willingly put towards a project from the very beginning. And I mean, it already, like, Wicked Part 1 already made its money back and more. Like, it's doing amazing at the box office.
Hmm.
Which makes me kind of want to ask something unrelated tangentially. Were you seeing all of those TikToks and stuff about people complaining that the top 10 movies, highest grossing wise, are all sequels?
No, I had not seen that.
Wicked, I think, is now in the top 10, but at the time it wasn't, and it's the first time in film history that's ever happened.
Wait, how is that possible? Titanic's number one. So, and
Of
that's
the
not a
year,
sequel.
highest grossing of the year, sorry.
Oh, of the year. Sorry, I was like, of all time. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Titanic's not number one.
I'm like, Titanic is number one.
Nar.
No, it's Gone with the Wind. Sorry.
Nar.
Yes.
Highest grossing of all time?
Yes. Or
Nar.
Avatar. Which one is that?
I
Yes.
think Avatar. It's either Avatar or Avengers Endgame. It was Avengers Endgame, and then Avatar got re-released, I think, back in China, um, with Way of Water, and then it took back number one. Titanic's like 6 or 7 at this point. Maybe not even top 10. Because Jurassic World is up there, although that might be pushed out of the top 10. Trying to think of other billion-dollar movies.
Gone with the Wind is number one.
What? Where? Is this adjusting for inflation or actual money?
Yes. No, adjusted for inflation, because I think that has to be. It has to be. It's a big part of movies. I mean, movies don't cost the same.
What was your search?
Avatar is number 2 though, and that has a lot. That's a lot to say. So it's Gone with the Wind, Avatar, and Titanic in the top 3.
Okay, Okay, if you go by not adjusting for inflation, Titanic is number 4.
Right.
I don't want to be reminded of inflation. Let's just not live in that. Let's not live in that.
It's the world we live in, Garrett. We can't just not adjust for inflation.
Okay, yeah, Gone with the Wind doesn't even make any of this list. It doesn't
Yeah,
find it.
Of course not.
Okay. I don't know. That's crazy. Inside Out 2 is 8. Okay, we went on a big tangent. But yeah. What were we talking about before? We were talking about Cynthia Erivo and her voice. I love it. Wizard and I, she, like, because that's her real, like, first singing moment. I loved Wizard and I.
That was a good song. Like I said, I didn't know what to expect from the characters, and that told me a lot about her character, what she wants out of her journey, and yeah, I thought her story was really sad.
Wizard and I, in my opinion, is the best I want, quote unquote, song from a musical. Like when a character just says what they want in the world, what their hopes and dreams are. The Goofy movie has a great one at the very beginning. And I just love The Wizard and I. It's just amazing. And we can actually go back a little bit. If you want to, like, jump in, I think we can go by the song list and just, like, discuss the sections of the movie that way.
No One Mourns the Wicked is the first song on the track.
Yeah. So the movie opens up. I got chills the way the movie opened up, with Glinda in the background and the slow shot going through the tower at the end of The Wizard of Oz. And, like, hearing that the Wicked Witch of the West is dead. And then you see the hat, which was a callback to how the stage production first had a giant witch's hat on stage and a window behind it, so it's matching that framing. Genuine chills. It's such a good opening because I'm so drawn in. And then you get No One Mourns the Wicked, which I really love. They did like a really good job of like having a big practical set and dancers for it.
Yeah, I like the opening. Going in, I don't know if I'm getting too ahead of myself, but no, that opening was very good. Like I knew, even though I didn't really remember how the Wizard of Oz ended.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I know they defeated the witch. Was it with a bucket of water? I think so.
Yeah.
And then they say it in the voiceover, right? Where they're saying how, this little girl conquered or whatever and beat her with a bucket of water or something. Visuals were great. And then coming into, the celebration of the townspeople and Glinda coming down, I was just like immediately drawn into it.
Yeah. John M. Chu describes like his movies being very immersive, which I think is very true. That's why a lot of people were complaining about how dull the colors worked because they planted what 6 million flowers for this movie. And everyone was complaining how dull the colors looked, and he was like, "But I'm making an immersive movie. Like I don't want to make it look plastic," which is the words that he said to like invoke Barbie. Um, I think he just did an amazing job. That long tracking shot going through the land of Oz and then dropping in on Munchkin Land and the
Mm-hmm.
singing. That opening is so dramatic. Glinda is unhinged. She's so pissed off. And just like knowing how Act 2 goes and knowing that this is supposed to happen after Act 2, it's really fun.
I did not know what to make of it because I was like, all I knew was that Glinda and Elphaba were sisters, or at least that's what I thought.
You
Right?
thought because of
I don't
that
know,
that Vine.
because of the TikTok. Her sister was a witch.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah, the Vine. Um. Yeah, I guess I was super confused. I really thought they were sisters, but then when I saw the promo stuff for Wicked, I was like, okay, they're friends. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe they develop this close friendship enough that they consider
Yes.
themselves sisters, which fine, I get that, sure. But in the beginning of the movie, when Glenda's like, you know, with the Munchkins, she just looked not at all sad. Like it immediately made me hate her character, all while enjoying the characterisms
Yeah.
that Ariana was doing, right? Because it's like, oh, she's so selfish and she's like, she really doesn't care. And
Mm-hmm.
like,
The way she
and then,
throws that torch, I
yeah.
laughed at it the first time because I was like, "Oh, she is very happy to throw that torch on this statue." Um,
Mm-hmm.
do you
No,
know?
that first moment when she's in the bubble and then she's
Yeah.
like, trying to press a button with her foot. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, it just gave me so much information that I didn't know I needed, right? Here I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking she's a witch or like she has magic or whatever. But then that little foot tap and like with the wand, I was like, oh, she's a fake.
Yeah. It's cool that you picked up on that from the very beginning
Yeah.
because there's a leaked trailer for the second movie that directly
Hmm.
showed that it's a button and that she's pressing that button. Um,
Yeah.
so it's cool that like people are picking up on that from the very beginning. Like I knew of this. I knew going in that that was what that was. But like the whole beginning of this movie is outstanding. I love
Hmm.
just every side character vocally is so fun. We get into learning the history, like the backstory of Elphaba and her family. And while I hate the mayor, I love his singing voice. Just listening to
The
the album,
mayor.
I love the mayor's singing voice. Her dad, it's uncanny. It's so
Oh,
sweet. The
yeah.
baby is
Let's
unnaturally.
quickly before we like go further.
Uh huh.
Let's talk about casting because I wanted to talk about casting.
Okay.
When Ariana was first announced, I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh, okay, knowing nothing again of Wicked, I was like, oh, it feels like stunt casting. Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah.
Because she did such a great job.
Mm-hmm. How much do you know about Ariana's relationship with Wicked?
Only that tweet that she tweeted that she saw Wicked a long time ago and she really wanted to play Glinda.
Mm-hmm. She got to meet Kristen Chenoweth in Kristen Chenoweth's dressing room. Um, like this has been her dream role, and she actually got it. Which for me is why I love the press tour that her and Cynthia did. Everyone's bashing on them for how much crying they're doing, and I'm like, y'all, this is their like biggest dream. Let
I
them
just think
have
it's
their
funny.
moment. They're so
I
cute.
I don't bash them. I just think it's like it's such a good like these moments are made for TikTok. They're amazing.
I know what our title for this episode is, and you can keep this in. We're holding space for Wicked. Holding space for Wicked is the title of the name.
Yes.
Do you get the meme?
I do. I do.
Okay.
We had Friendsgiving over the weekend and we each held space with each other and we held each other's fingers. Just the one finger. Oh,
So one of the press tour interviews that they did was this woman who said that she was in Avenue Q, um, when Wicked was on Broadway, like when it came out. And Cynthia and Ariana go crazy because they love Avenue Q, but we're not supposed to say we like Avenue Q because Avenue Q beat Wicked at the Tonys for Best Musical. So that's the history. And the way they freak out after learning who she plays, I love it. They're just so fun. And then all the looks that they wore on the carpets and everything. This is
the
maybe
looks
my
are good.
favorite. It's maybe my favorite press tour for a movie. And then I'm like, what is part two's press tour going to be like? Because it's just going to be them probably saying the same things. And then the fashion, how are they going to beat their fashion from the first press tour? I don't know. It's crazy. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, their outfits have been amazing for the press tour. Yeah, Ariana did good as Glinda. I don't know about some of these casting choices though.
Who?
Some of these supposed who supposedly auditioned. Anne Hathaway,
I saw that,
Dove Cameron.
and Dove Cameron would be an amazing Glinda, though.
I could see it.
She's got
Renee
the
Rapp,
good vocal talent, not a Glinda.
Hailey Bieber.
I have no
I don't know
knowledge
about
about
that.
her. I know her by
That's a
name.
stretch. And Amanda Seyfried.
I could see it, but she's in too many. She's in too many movie musicals, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she should. She had her moment. She has Mamma Mia, and she has Les Mis.
Yeah, Ariana surprised me. She was such a good Glinda. I mean, I don't have any other point of reference other than just the clips that I've seen of the movie version of the Wizard of Oz, but that's kind of it. Cynthia Erivo, I knew she had a powerhouse voice. So I was like, I know it's one of those things where she's going to do the songs justice.
Yeah.
Even with like my limited knowledge of that.
Mm-hmm.
So some of these casting choices, or supposedly who auditioned, Lea Michele, Lady Gaga, Jordan Sparks, Demi Lovato, and Nicole Scherzinger.
Literally, Jordan Sparks would be the only person that I would be open to considering. But Cynthia is perfect. No one's gonna do better than Cynthia. Okay, so context, there have been Black women that have portrayed Elphaba on Broadway, but they've never been like, here's your Elphaba for the next year. Like they've never been cast as the lead. She's been played. So like having your Elphaba being a Black woman and the themes of being someone that is different and the political nature of this movie, she just brings a whole nother envelope of power and themes to it in that sense. Yeah.
But yeah, Demi Lovato, Nicole Scherzinger. I'm sorry, no
It just wouldn't
girls.
have made sense. It would have been bad. I don't want to see them
It's a
green.
no.
Ew.
It's a no for me, dog. What about Fiyero?
They casted the perfect person for it.
I think so. I mean, we have Nick Jonas, Joe Jonas, Shawn Mendes. No,
But these are pop
no,
singers, and sure, Joe Jonah, like, sure, they've
no.
done stuff on Broadway, I think. Um, but I don't think, like, Ariana grew up doing musical theater. The Jonas Brothers, I don't believe did. So I don't want someone who doesn't know, like, what musical theater needs to do it. Like, that would have been awful. You need,
Mm-hmm.
plus, Joe Jonas and Nick Jonas do not have the bisexual identity that Jonathan Bailey does in this movie. Because everyone is into Fiyero, rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't imagine Bowen Yang fawning over Nick Jonas. I just don't see it.
It wouldn't hit the same. It just definitely wouldn't hit the same.
Jonathan, oh, he doesn't wear white pants though. Maybe that's the second movie. Fiyero wears white pants on the stage musical, and it's very good. Thank you.
All right, now let's talk about somebody who I thought was miscast.
Are you about to say Michelle Yeoh?
Yeah, Madame
No.
Morrible.
Here's the thing. Act 1 Madame Morrible is she's kind of a throwaway character, Act 1. I actually don't know much about Madame Morrible Act 2.
Even without knowing so much about the character, I
Yeah.
understood what this character was supposed to be.
Uh-huh.
And Michelle Yeoh, great actress, but it was very stoic for me in this performance. To where somebody like, even some of these, I don't know if these are fan castings or who supposedly actually auditioned, but Imelda Staunton, Cheryl Lee Ralph. I mean, those two would have done a very, very different job. That character was supposed to be, a trusted character who had ulterior motives. And I think even if they're not going to give away the story or that story away immediately, some of the characterisms would have been very apparent earlier had it been a different actress doing that role.
In what sense? In her being evil, or do you want her to be nicer and more of a friend to Elphaba from the beginning?
No, it's so nicer, but
Okay.
like you know how there's like those characters that are like really nice. She's supposed to be fake. That's the whole thing. It's like I just felt it more like she was stoic and mean in the beginning, and I just didn't. It just didn't fit the character for me.
Her attitude with Glinda is correct. That's the way it is in the musical, and that's the way I think it should be. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Glinda is not getting what she wants, and someone needs to be that opposing force for her.
Right, right.
I just think, well, it's a John M. Chu movie, and Michelle Yeoh, I don't think anyone else auditioned. Maybe they held an audition, but maybe because John
Mm-hmm.
M. Chu worked with Michelle Yeoh in Crazy Rich Asians, he already knew who he wanted, so it was more of an offered thing for her than something she
Mm-hmm.
auditioned for. Um, I don't mind. I do like for what she does and the fact that English is not her first language and she has to sing in this. I was perfectly fine with everything. I love her looks. I love her looks. I love her hair.
The looks were awesome.
I didn't mind Michelle
I was
Yeoh.
not a fan of the singing.
She sings barely any though.
Yeah.
She sings her little bit in Wizard and I, and it works. It's more talking singing than her
I,
going like full Broadway, but for the character and for
mm,
who the actress is, I don't mind it. honestly, I just think like you don't have the perspective of the musical though, and like what kind of character, or even the book, and for what the character that Madame Morrible represents. What you're wanting is what the wizard is.
Jeff Goldblum was the wizard.
Mm-hmm.
In the supposed actors who auditioned, we have Martin Short, Steve from the same show. What's his name? Steve, the other older guy from Murders in the Building.
Steve Martin.
Steve Martin, Bryan Cranston, Willem Dafoe,
Mm-hmm.
and Tim the Toolman Taylor.
See, they could have all played Dr. Dillamond as well. This Bryan Cranston would have been fun.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is too obvious. Because it's just hard to imagine someone else doing it, because Jeff Goldblum does Jeff Goldblum as the wizard.
Exactly.
So it's like, do you get the same whimsy from it? And Act 2, or the second movie rather, is going to kind of like change how you view the wizard. You get a lot more time with him, which is good.
Okay.
And yeah,
I don't know. I got the sense that this is in The Wizard of Oz.
mm-hmm.
I mean, his name's in the title, so it's the whole thing is that he's important somehow. Obviously, the whole thing is that, guess what? No, he's not, kind of thing, but nobody really knows him. And the whole thing is that he's just kind of this, basic ass dude. So, in that respect, I mean, almost anyone can play him. And am I mad that Jeff Goldblum did Jeff Goldblum as the Wizard of Oz? Not really. Because it's just a thing.
Yeah, it's a good performance. I like what he does.
Mm-hmm.
It would be fun to see someone do something different, but not everyone can play the Wizard of Oz, because James Franco exists as Oz the Great and Powerful. So I think that breaks your thesis. I haven't seen that movie in forever. I was thinking about rewatching it in preparation for this movie, because like, why not put something more on my homework? But
is that like a different telling of things? Like what is that?
Disney wanted to make its next big franchise after Pirates of the Caribbean. So they got Sam Raimi to direct the Wizard of Oz's origin story. So he's just this guy, like magician dude in the real world, who likes to illusions and stuff, and then he gets put in the land of Oz. Mila Kunis ends up being the Wicked Witch of the West. Spoilers, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And she has like an actual it's a very dumb movie. It's not very good. And James Franco just seems like he's high during the whole movie. Like, that's what his performance is giving.
Yeah, I don't put it past James Franco.
Mm-hmm.
So next we have Bach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who a lot of these actors are. Well, no, that's not true. Okay, maybe I'll just mention them by Benny Blanco. I think is one of them. Is that Kit Connor as Bach?
He's on Broadway right now.
And
I don't know what to say on Broadway, but he's in Romeo and Juliet with Rachel Zegler right now.
The guy who played Superman's enemy. What's the name? I'm sorry.
Which one? Be more specific.
Batman, evil villain, bald guy.
Are we talking about Michael Cera?
Jesse
Eisenberg. Same person.
Eisenberg. Yes, Jesse Eisenberg.
Literally, no. As Bach? No.
Okay, let's start over again. Okay.
No. Because we have to keep all my opinions in. Ethan Slater is the perfect dweeb to play Bach. Like, he's way too perfect to be this gross, like, not
Ethan Slater.
gross. Yes.
Who's Ethan Slater? Wait, is that the actor who played him?
That is the actor who plays Bach, Ariana Grande's boyfriend,
Right, that's
SpongeBob
who
on
I thought it was.
Broadway. Mm-hmm.
That's who I thought it was.
Yeah.
I was just thought, like, it took me out because I was like, wait, did she, like, just get him this job?
No, because he's kind of, like, perfect for it. Is it because, like,
It was a good role.
mhm.
It was a good role.
Well, you don't know where it's going is the thing. So when we get
No,
there, he's perfect because of just like how dumb and easy to manipulate he is. I feel like that's everyone in the
okay.
main cast. Because
Well, there's
Fanny,
Nessa. There's Nessa Rose.
Nessa Rose, who some people don't like.
I thought she was okay.
I don't like the character as a grown up.
Mhm.
I love
Okay.
young Nessa.
Okay, me not knowing anything about Wicked once again,
Uh-huh.
or about the Wizard of Oz world, I kept thinking throughout this movie, she's Elphaba's sister, right? And in my head,
Mm-hmm.
I still have the vine stuck in my head of her sister was
Mm-hmm.
a witch. So in my head, she's the witch that dies in the beginning of Wizard of Oz with the house on her,
Yes.
right? In my head, it's like, oh wait, I didn't know this character was in a wheelchair. She can't walk.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, the only thing I remember seeing from her
Are her shoes.
is the legs, the shoes.
Well, I wonder what can happen in Act 2 of this musical.
I guess, is she gonna magically walk? I mean, good for her.
Yes and no. I actually don't know, because they've said they've made changes to how Nessa as a character works in the second movie. So it's going to be interesting of, do you want what happens in the show? Do you want that knowledge?
No, not at all.
Okay. They're going to try to change it into possibly something more empowering than the person with a disability gets that disability fixed. I think they're going to do more than that.
Okay, that would be cool to see. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for the fan casting, or I don't know if it's fan casting or who auditioned, but we have, and I don't know this actress's name, and I don't know how to look up. I guess she was in Glee. Let me see.
Is it? I wanted to say Amber Riley.
Oh, her name is Ellie Stroker. So, apparently who auditioned? Ellie Stroker also auditioned. I don't know her name. And Awkwafina, apparently.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, these rumor lists don't make sense. Because Awkwafina, if anyone is too old to play a teenager, Awkwafina is too old to play a teenager. Or like late 20s, like early 20s adults. I don't know how old they're supposed to be in this movie. We talked about that.
Somebody said that Fiora was like, why is this person in... But they're not teenagers. Aren't they in a college?
I don't know.
To me, I saw this as like a junior college, because then Elphaba comes in and she's older and she's like, okay, cool, we'll accept you. And I'm like, oh, so it's like a community college where you have your 19-year-olds who don't want to go to a big university, and then you have your soccer moms who are just trying to get back in the world.
I'm looking up what Shiz is actually called.
Okay, let's talk about the school name, because that took me out the entire fucking movie.
I guess it is just called Shiz University.
Why? Who names Shiz?
Like, I mean, with the way the characters talk in this movie, and of course, again, it is all from a book.
Right.
What is the name Oz? What's the land of Oz? What's Munchkin Land? Well, Nessa is perfectly cast. One young Nessa that we meet during No One Mourns the Wicked. I will fight for young Nessa forever. I love this small child so much. She's so cute. There's a TikTok of her
Mm.
sitting with a Nessa Rose doll in her wheelchair. I love
Mm-hmm.
her little yes and nope. I love her so much. And then older Nessa, played by she's femme. She's queer. She has a girlfriend, or they. I don't know their pronouns to be honest, but they are with someone. So they are. Yes, I was pumping my fist because they're femme. But yeah, I think that was good casting. I'm intrigued to see what she can do with Nessa Rose as a character and act in the second movie. Because a lot of these supporting characters, Act 1 is really about setup and Glinda and Elphaba. And then Act 2, you kind of get a little bit with each side character. And the focus isn't so much about the two as sisters. It's really to set up Wizard of Oz in a fun way. So we're going to get a lot more time with them and allow them to like shine. Because like even with Ethan Slater, who's a good singer, we did not get like we got one good thing of him singing and dancing through life. He didn't really get to sing much else in this.
And he sings more in the second part?
Everyone gets to sing more in the second part. Nessa Rose, Bach, Fiyero, the Wizard.
Okay. You said they recorded these movies at the same time, right? Like it's all been recorded?
Yes.
Do we know when the next one's coming out?
Next November.
Oh my god.
Literally the same day a year later.
Jesus.
I know. So they're gonna milk all of, like, I'm waiting for the 4K. I want the 4K to come out now so I can own it and watch it whenever I want to. Like, I'm literally thinking about going to see it tonight. For my third time. I'm really excited. So yeah. Now will they do any reshoots? I don't know. Because it's hard to say. Like, the reception is so positive. I don't think they'll have to. Mm-hmm.
I think we would have heard of reshoots already, right?
Yeah, I don't think they need to anyways. I think they spent so much money, they can take the time to do everything as perfect as possible. So we've gone through No One Mourns the Wicked, and at the end of that song, we're gonna get back to the plot of the movie. One of the Munchkins asked Glinda if she knew the Wicked Witch of the West, and Glinda says yes. And that they were in fact friends, but that they knew each other once because they went to the same school. So we get transported back in time, the sweeping shot with the title card of Wicked Part 1 and this big wide shot of Oz. And we get Dear Old Shiz, which is the university choir, introducing us to the university.
Yeah, that pissed me off.
Why?
Because it's just when I found out it was going to be split into two parts.
Oh.
It's like the big title sequence. And then part 1, I'm like, what?
That's shocking.
It's a 3-hour movie and I still have to like watch another one to finish this story.
I think the other one's gonna have a lot more added into it. We can get that into later, but I knew this was a 2-parter going into it. Like, it's kind of obvious. Yeah. They show stuff from the second movie. Like, there's parts of Dorothy and the gang in front of the wizard, and that's going to be in the second movie. So it's cool that they kind of, like, misled us on some things with the trailer for this first movie. Like, they didn't tell us exactly how much we were getting, even though it's kind of obvious where the break would be at.
Yeah, I had no idea.
What did you think about Glinda's introduction with Dear Old Shiz? Like, seeing, like, her older self and then looking at her, like, younger, more obnoxious side.
I thought it was the same. You know, it was just, I just didn't see the difference. I guess I got the impression that she was hiding something and that she was being fake. Obviously, with the whole, you know, fake bubble thing and the button on the floor and it just felt like, oh, future Glinda is like fake and she's just pretending and she's, you know, showing off for people, you know, kind of thing. And here came in young Glinda, and it was just like bubbly, kind of, you know, I don't know.
I love it. I love young Galinda so much. I love her tossing her hair. She's not afraid to take up as much space as she wants. She knows she's the queen bee, and she's gonna let everyone know about it. This whole introduction of the university is really fun. The fact that Dear Old Shiz kind of is the soundtrack that we come into the university, and then it ends on the reveal of Elphaba in not present time, because the timeline of this movie is weird, but like at the university we see Elphaba, and it's just immediately Cynthia Erivo is perfect as this character.
Yeah, I liked Elphaba's introduction as well. So yeah, I like the whole trajectory of the introduction to this character, because it immediately told me kind of who she was, what I was gonna look at, what she's gonna be going up against with the introduction of Ariana's character. Like it immediately like set up, you know, the dichotomy between these characters of what we're gonna get. One's gonna be annoyed at the other one. The one's annoying. What I liked about Ariana's character, or Glinda, what I liked about Glinda is that she is this uppity girl, right? She thinks she's doing things to help people out of the goodness of her heart, but it comes across very like, what is the word? Self-serving. I mean, I don't know.
You kind of get into the theme of the musical. What is good? What is bad? Is there true good? Is there true bad?
Mm-hmm.
And Glinda, the good witch, by the way, maybe perhaps not. And this is when we get the introduction of pretty much every character. Bach meets Glinda. Glinda pushes him away. Nessarose arrives with her father, and we get how much the father, the mayor, wants to baby Nessarose. She is his perfect child. And then he kind of talks down to Elphaba, and that's a really fun distinction to make between them, especially as like sisters in a way. And then we get just trying to get through the plot. We go into Elphaba causing like a big magical disturbance that catches Madame Morrible's attention, and Madame Morrible invites Elphaba to the university, where Glinda accidentally volunteers to room with Elphaba, and that leads us into The Wizard and I, showing Cynthia Erivo's amazing vocals. I love this song.
I didn't like Madame Morrible. So she came in and she basically said, "Oh, that was me. I did all that." Right?
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't like that, even though I see what she was trying to do. She was trying to deflect off of Elphaba so that people wouldn't necessarily go after her, and that so she could come in and be like, "Hey, I understand your potential. Let me help you." Right? I just didn't like that she took credit for it. I don't know why.
So you want her to be more nicer and helpful to Elphaba, but then when she does that, you don't like it? Is that what I'm hearing?
I get it. I know what I'm saying, but still, like, part of me was like, why is she taking credit for something she didn't do? Oh, because I think why I didn't like it is because I didn't really understand if she actually had magic or not. And I felt like she was trying to make people see something that really wasn't there. So I kind of like imagined her as Glinda as well. It's like, oh, do most people just not have powers? Even the people who pretend to be witches, not have powers, And then here comes in this kind of outsider in Elphaba, and she finally has powers. And now here's somebody who's in power, like Madame Marble,
Mm-hmm.
trying to kind of usurp that, that uh I don't know, recognition, that kind of fascination that people have with people with power.
Yeah, if we
That is
got
the part that kind of I didn't like.
no, I see it. If we got a little bit of her doing some regular magic stuff when she was
Yeah.
introducing herself to the students, um, that would have been
Yes. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
a very small fix that you're asking for, which I totally see.
I I didn't get the fix until it was that until the part where she
It's
got
about to
rid of
rain.
the weather.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, "Oh,
What does that make
maybe
you
she
think?
does." I don't know. Part of me was like, "Oh, she has some machine." And all she did was like she flagged somebody far
Mm-hmm.
away with that's watching her with I don't know, a scope or something, and they turned off the machine that makes the weather.
Interesting.
That's exactly what I imagined.
But like her saying she has control of the weather and that weather is her specialty, did that like make you
Uh,
think about anything?
I was
Or
immediately, who do you think you are, Storm? Like, I
okay.
don't know. I just really didn't like her character. I'm just being
Okay.
a hater. Sorry.
No, that's okay. You can hate Madam Horrible. That's why she's named that. Um,
Oh, see. You see how slow I am to think sometimes? I just didn't realize that's what they were going
I
for.
don't think that's what they were going for. That's just what I came up with.
Oh.
Improvising. But I'm sure
Okay,
Gregory
that makes sense.
Maguire had like a reason to call her Madame Horrible. Even if that is her real name, I'm not sure. I'm trying to think if like um Elphaba comes up with that in the book or not. No, I think that's her actual name. But getting into The Wizard and I, what did you think about this song? I know you don't like Michelle Yeoh's performance at the beginning of it.
Did Michelle Yeoh sing part of that song?
This is her only time she's singing, and she sings for 30 seconds. So anytime anyone complains about her singing, I'm like, okay, she's sings for like 30 seconds.
I
That's
mean,
all
the
she
singing
does.
fit the character,
Yes.
but I did not like for the character, and I did not like just that this character is not meant to. She's not a great character, like story wise. I mean,
Okay, so skipping Michelle Yeoh singing, what did you think about Cynthia Erivo singing in The Wizard and I?
phenomenal. That was like the first time that I was like, "Oh, am I really gonna start loving this?" The answer is tentative still,
Mm-hmm.
but it really, really made me appreciate her singing and what the whole musical had in store for us.
I agree. When the first time I watched it and The Wizard and I hit, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna love this way more than the Broadway album."
Hmm.
Like what Cynthia does is so fresh, and the riffs and everything she adds vocally to it, she's just outstanding. And I was gagged. I almost cried the second time I saw it with The Wizard and I. But it's just a long, beefy song. If it was like maybe shorter, I would have hit the emotional weight. I'm not sure. This is me being nitpicky. So Elphaba accepts her invitation to join Shiz University, and she is roomed with Galinda, who thought she's gonna have a private suite. So all of her stuff is adorning her very large room. It's a pretty big room. I don't know the
Yeah.
geography of and architecture of Shiz University. I wish we got a bigger scale of it. Um, but
Mm-hmm.
that's just me asking for more than what you would have gotten in the Broadway show, which is not really a glimpse into what the university would have looked like. So for that, I'm thankful for what I got anyways. Um, and that leads us into my, I don't know if it's favorite song of the movie, but it is favorite song of Wicked in general. What is this feeling? Which is the big rival song between Elphaba and Glinda. It has gone super viral for its choreography, as deserved, as it should. Um, and I loved it. They did it perfect. So it's when they're in their beds and they go into the choreography in the courtyard, and then they start doing all of their in the classes, and the montage of the song works so well to get us through the school year a little bit and to just learn like what life is like. Shout out to the girl with the red hair doing the choreography in the cafeteria room. I'm so glad people have found you and you've gone viral on TikTok. That's really wonderful. And like overall, it's my favorite song from the musical. I love the Pentatonics cover of it that they did for the 20th anniversary special for NBC. Was it 20th or 15th anniversary? It was 50th anniversary. Jay Leno, they were on one of the late night shows with Jay Leno, and I remember that one. That's one I've watched so much. There's an SNL with Amy Adams and Kristen Wiig, I think is who does it with her, where they do "What Is This Feeling." I know way too much about this song and the history of it. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a whole vibe. Like listening into it on its own with headphones, and the chorus, you have to listen to the Broadway version, and because what they did so well, the score is updated, and I love the score for this movie. And it's the chord and the fact that there's two lines of dialogue happening, which to me is something that I love. Multiple lines of dialogue happening at the same time in musicals. That's why I like Hamilton and In the Heights, because Lin-Manuel does that. It's a song for me. I know it's not everyone's favorite, but for me, it's my favorite.
I like their outfits during the scene. I love how Ariana moves, though. I mean, just the way, I guess her choreography was funny to me throughout the movie.
She was improvising a lot during that song when they're walking through the courtyard and everyone's singing like how good she is, and she's like, "Oh wow, like that's really interesting. Thank you." I just love her performance in this. Everyone, so we did take a pause in between recording the first and second half of this episode, and since we recorded the first episode, the Golden Globe nominations have come out, where Wicked is up for Best Comedy Musical Film, and then Cynthia and Ariana are both up for Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress, respectively. And then there was one more. I don't remember what the other nomination was. Cinematic Achievement? Maybe.
Ariana really impressed me with her performance in this movie.
It's really good, but I think Cynthia does an even better job. The movie rides on Cynthia's performance.
It does. It absolutely does. She's wonderful. I think I was just very surprised at how, you know what, I just had forgotten how good it was, how good Ariana was playing kind of dumb. Although she's not really, really dumb in this movie, she's a smart woman, but she plays that kind of ditzy blonde character well.
You could say she's more aloof. I would say she's more aloof.
That's
rather
great.
than
yes, aloof.
Yeah.
I was trying to find it. Thank you. Yes, she plays that aloof character extremely well, and of course, she played it in Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, wherever.
And Victorious, her playing Cat Valentine. Cat Valentine is different though.
They're very different characters, but they still have that same kind of aloofness, if you will, to them, in a way. And I think she brought a little of that with her, but I don't know. This character, the characterizations were just very smart in her part. The hair thing was not her something that I've ever seen. The toss, like I've seen a hair flip. I've never seen it was like a whole body toss, like with the shoulders and everything. Like I thought that was hilarious.
And her version of that is really good because that is like a Glinda staple in the musical is her hair tossing. And Ariana's version of just how aggressive and how much she did it, I loved it. You gotta watch the musical. At least watch Act 1. So after What Is This Feeling, we get more involved with their school life, where we get to a class and we meet the history professor, a goat named Dr. Dillamond, voiced by Peter Dinklage. What did you think about this character? And like the school setting and what happened to him
I thought it was
in this
sad.
initial part?
I never really thought, so I didn't know that this was a big plot of the story of like the animals are their own people, I guess, and
Mm-hmm.
they, I as soon as I saw a talking goat teaching a class, I was like, oh, okay, oh, I understand what kind of whimsy world I'm in. I get it. And
Mm-hmm.
this plot point finally gave me more. Like, that's the big picture of the story, more so than if they were going to find out that the wizard wasn't really a wizard, or how they were going to end up at odds. I liked it. I liked the plot point. And I did like the character. I immediately recognized Peter Dinklage's voice. Yeah, great fit, great character.
Another character that anyone could have played, Dr. Dillamond. They cut his song "Something Bad" short. I think it's shortened than what's on Broadway, and I'm upset about it. It's not a real big upset. I don't know. It just listening to the album is a different experience because "Something Bad" is much shorter. But you get the politics of Wicked in this, and the book has a lot more politics about it. And that's a big like central like theme or the politics in the book. And they're there in Wicked about being an other, about being discriminatory, trying to take away a person's rights and their, I mean, in this sense, speech in general, which is the big plot of what's been happening with these animals, is that they're
Yeah, they're
being
like they're literally losing their voice. Like,
they're de-evolving, which is crazy.
yeah.
And you get all of that through exposition within the class of like what the past history has been like for animals. And then after class, Elphaba follows Dr. Dillamond into the forest where she sees this little gathering of animals and how Dr. D is just saying what's been happening to other animals, which is the Something Bad song, and you get the stakes of what's happening in the real world, and things start clicking for Elphaba of like maybe like what her purpose is, like what does she actually want in life, and what is her like greatest desire, which I think for Elphaba is a really fun thing to think about, and when that exact change happens.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, all very important parts for her character.
And then you get your introduction to Jonathan Bailey as Fiero after she leaves and she's running through the woods. What did you think about that little meet cute?
I thought he was gonna be this kind of asshole character, which there's a little bit of it later on,
Mm-hmm.
because immediately he comes across like very confident or whatever. But the meet cute was cute. I like that he immediately just kind of liked her, and she was a little standoffish, and he's like, "Yeah, I still like you," and
Mm-hmm.
and she didn't allow herself. But
Agreed.
yeah, I liked him. It made me like his character. I was like, okay, I get it. He's the charming character, but he's not like that. Usually, when you see these charming characters, they're assholes. They're dicks. They're full of themselves, and I just didn't really get that sense from his character. And I don't
Yeah,
know
he's
if I was because Jonathan Bailey was playing him, and they didn't want him to come across that way, or is that how the character has always been?
the character's always been that. He is shallow and suave, but he is self-aware and
Mm-hmm.
doesn't think as highly of himself as Glinda. Because he's like in the middle ground of where Elphaba and Glinda are, and they're like respective, like how they view themselves as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And what you learn with Dancing Through Life is that Fiyero is kind of just getting by. He doesn't really have any anything that drives him. He's a big existential person. That's really what Dancing Through Life and what the lyrics about Dancing Through Life are. I love the meet cute. I love that his horse was kind of there to bro with him and snort and snicker when things weren't going his way when he was trying to flirt with Elphaba. Do you know anything about that horse? Do you know what the big fun fact about the horse is?
No.
So that horse is the same one that he uses in Bridgerton.
Oh.
He filmed Bridgerton and I think another movie the same time he was filming Wicked. So 40 days straight, I think he worked on all three at the same time.
Wow. And then all of a sudden he's a millionaire. No, but I guess, I mean,
well deserved.
Animals are such an important thing. It's like animals and babies it's a whole, and kids, it's like a whole thing in production where it's like you only have a limited amount of time to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not always the easiest bunch because there's so many rules tied to either.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you have an animal that you're working with and that animal already trusts you, why not go along to the next production? And
oh yeah, I think both are also filmed in England. I think Wicked was filmed in England as well, so it's just easier for production to get them if it's not too far away. Dancing Through Life is the big number. I have listened to Dancing Through Life over and over and over again. I love the lyrics. I love the harmonies. I love the choreography in the first half where it's all Fiyero singing. What did you think? So we're big film cinematography, how the camera works and everything. What did you think about Dancing Through Life from the cinematography filming perspective?
That was when he's singing in the woods, right?
That is when he's singing in the library, the book room, if you will.
Oh. There was something that really bugged me during that scene.
No, what?
That the back was way too bright coming through the windows. It's like it was way too much to where, to me, it made the entire scene kind of a little hazy because of it. Other than the specific scenes where the light comes through, I thought it was a beautiful scene. But that was the only thing that took me out, the only thing that really bugged me. The choreography was good. That was a very fun scene. I like the kind of the what was it, the twirly thing that the books were doing. In my head, I kept thinking, how are the books not falling out?
That's what I thought, but magic.
But magic.
Those are so tightly packed.
That was my exact thing. They're either extremely tightly packed or magic,
Gravity doesn't... Obviously, we see gravity doesn't mean anything in this movie.
Yeah, no. Everybody was defying gravity.
I love Dancing Through Life. I will kind of skip it, though, because then you get into, the Bach and Nessa stuff and vibes that's not super, fun to sing with.
About the choice that they made in the movie to have Fiyero, and again, I don't know if this just speaks to the character, but the fact that everyone liked him, all genders were fawning over him.
Yes.
Right? And there was no reaction from the character at all. Because how sometimes when even if the character's not homophobic or anything like that, there is a clear line of haha, that's funny, but we're not, that's not where my interests lie, or here's to show that I will never be with a man in that respect. They always make some sort of writing that they put in films or TV that will tell you that. We didn't get that in this movie.
I think if you hired a straight person, that might come through their performance, but because Jonathan Bailey is in fact gay, there's just no way that he wasn't gonna roll it. Like, I don't think he was gonna let that
Exactly.
happen. And then
Hmm.
I think he was feeding off because Bowen Yang's energy at
Yeah.
the map of the school, loved it. I love and Dancing Through Life when he grabs that dude's head and is just like rolling it around, and then like he brings the head back up, and the dude is just like so taken with him. It's very funny. I love Fiero. I love Dancing Through Life. And that kind of takes us through. You have Dancing Through Life is the big musical number in a musical that spans like multiple scenes, but they're all in the same context of the one song and its tone. So you get Bach talking with Galinda, getting sent to go ask Nessa Rose out, Nessa telling Elphaba what happened and how Nessa is like super happy and that Elphaba shouldn't ruin it. Then you get Galinda with Fanny and the other one that I forget her name. You get the introduction of the hat, and I love the way the hat is designed just to like get that out of the way. And then, sorry, there's just so much that happens in this one context of a song. Eventually, we do go to the Ozdust Ball, where this is when I first cried, actually. Where Elphaba shows up in her black gown after Galinda is given the wand by Madame Morrible, who just is okay with the students being somewhere that's apparently illegal to be at. Okay, cool.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
War Queen. I love it. And then you get this like beautiful duet with Elphaba and Galinda that brought me to tears. It was perfect. What did you think about the rest of this song and that scene?
I really like that scene because again, it gave me more about Glenda's character, right? Where she does
Mm-hmm.
all these kind of almost mean girl things, but she really isn't mean spirited. It's kind of like I kept thinking, I'm like, this is a character that's just probably filled with a little bit of ignorance, who just doesn't know things, and as she is learning them, her empathy is coming through.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that scene. I think it was a very nice scene for both of them.
I love it. The choreography is fantastic. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sobbing with Cynthia when she's crying and like knowing that she found like someone who truly like gets her and is willing to be
Mm-hmm.
level with her. It's just so beautiful, and it just speaks to everything that this musical is standing for and why it's so popular and beloved for people. They did amazing. And then the probably standout song, like this is why everyone loves Galinda, is Popular. What did
Mm-hmm.
you think? This is one of the songs that you knew
I
going in. So like what did you think about
Yes,
like
I was very familiar with the Kristen Chenoweth version of it,
mm-hmm,
and I love Kristen Chenoweth. I cannot say enough. I just love her, love her, love her. So I was really familiar with this song. I've sang
mm-hmm.
it before. I just love what Kristen Chenoweth did with the song.
Give me 10 seconds of it.
No, which I'm not gonna say.
What I have been. You gotta make it equal.
No, I am not singing. No, my singing voice is terrible.
Boo. Do
I
it. Peer
really love.
pressure. Peer pressure.
No,
Peer pressure. Peer pressure. Let us know in the
that's not gonna
comments if
happen.
we get on the YouTube, if we get 100 likes
100.
on this episode, 100. We gotta start small. We get 100 likes. Oscar has to post a video of him singing Popular.
Oh my god. Anyway, no, I think Ariana did very well with this song. I mean, she made it her own.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to go into something like this and continuously compare, right?
Yeah.
What Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel did with the original, but there was something very special that these actresses made these versions of these songs their own and made them. It gave us a fresh take on
Mm-hmm.
them, and I think that's what Ariana did. It fit her character, her specific characterization of Glinda extremely well. just everything. The hair toss, her. I love the part where she took off Elphaba's glasses, and she's like, "Nope,
Mm-hmm.
nope, never mind."
It's really funny. I
I
liked that because like speaking to trying not to compare the musical with the movie allows you not
Mhm,
having to rely on just the performances in this song, that you get the how the camera is moving through the room, all of the set designs and everything that Glinda has
mhm,
throughout her room and that she's interacting with, that allows Ariana to have a lot more fun. When on stage you're kind of limited because you can't have like the ball, for example, when that comes out of her little bag, they can't really do that on Broadway.
yeah,
So it just allows like a lot more fun to happen with.
yeah, definitely a lot
Mhm.
of fun.
This is my one complaint. At the beginning of the podcast episode, I said that I had a complaint about Wicked, and this is where my one complaint happens. At the end of Popular, there's about 16 extra bars of music that Ariana gets to do, and she does a dance during that, and the little nightgown that she's wearing, I don't like how the nightgown moves. Like the big rose flowers are just so awkward with the dancing that, like, to me, I don't like it. I was, again, so nitpicky. This is the one thing I have a problem with in the movie. Just like take it off and do the dance. Or have a different nightgown that isn't that's also like
Mhm.
heavily weighted at the bottom. That was my only complaint with the movie.
I mean, that makes sense because sometimes the outfits really come into play when you're dancing, when you're singing.
Hmm.
Obviously there's so much planning that goes into them, but yeah, I can see
Well,
that.
I kind of disagree on that sense. Ariana Grande, when they were like the promotion of this movie was coming out, was saying that they made two different versions of Popular. They made a
Mm,
shorter that matches the Broadway version, and then they made the longer one for the movie. And then the choreographer came up with the choreography in the hallway. So they're like, oh, let's use the longer version of the song. So I don't think it was necessarily planned with the outfit that she's wearing.
mm.
So to me, it looks wonky. But the performance that Ariana is giving, like that leg kick that she does, that I didn't think that. Wow, I was
Yeah.
really impressed.
Just going back to the, try not to compare and compare. It's like this song, this character allowed me to detach from what I already knew and enjoy the song, enjoy just the set, enjoy everything for
Mm-hmm.
what I was looking at. And it made
Yeah,
not only the scene, but it made the entire rest of the movie a lot more fun.
that's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Like I was really gonna be like, oh my gosh, he doesn't like this movie.
You
Um,
were fully ready to go to war with me over this movie.
Not go to war, but it would have been like the most awkward thing because like I genuinely don't see, if you don't like musicals, you can just say you don't like musicals and that's not why you like the movie.
Hmm.
So like if it's not for you, it's not for you. But if like someone starts talking about like the wokeness of Wicked or they
Hmm.
didn't like these aspect of characters, I'm like, I can't talk with you because this is just a conversation I don't know how to have.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of musicals, but I can appreciate if a musical just gets me, it'll just get me. And like this
Hmm.
one is one of those that, although I will say, it's not like I love the entire musical.
Yeah.
I had fun with it. I had fun watching it, and the story was great. The characters were great. Yeah.
Hmm. And now we're getting into the tragedy. So Popular
Hmm.
happens. We have this newfound sisterhood between Elphaba and Galinda. And now it's kind of time to start taking that relationship away. We go back to Dr. Dillamond's class and we find out that Dr. Dillamond is essentially getting fired today, that all animals are banned from working at Shiz University or teaching in general. So in the process of him getting taken away, Elphaba stands up for him, obviously. She wants to protect animals. She is friends with Dr. Dillamond. No one really helps her. And then a new professor comes in, and you get a little lion cub in a cage that, yes, that is your cowardly lion, as it will come to be.
I just did not make that connection. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the Cowardly Lion's kind of important in Wicked lore, especially book-wise. The third book of
Mhm.
the four is all about the Cowardly Lion, like it's from his perspective. Kind of a bad book, so I've been told, unfortunately. So yeah, there's a lot of tie-ins with Wizard of Oz. It's pretty cool how it all works together.
Okay.
So the cub gets brought in a cage, and Elphaba uses the poppy flowers that she brought in for Dr. Dillamond to put everyone to sleep, and her and Fiyero escape with the cub and get it to safety. And they kind of have like a really fun and great discussion of like who they are as people, and it brings them
Mhm.
together. It kind of shows that they have a bit of a better connection than Fiyero and Glinda. And then you get I'm Not That Girl, sung by Cynthia Erivo, a song that I like. I don't super love because I don't like self-deprecation ballads because she is that girl to me.
Going back to the relationship between Glinda and Fiyero, I just don't even know how it's just like, oh, okay, you're hot and you're also hot and you're popular and let's get together. Cool. You can dance too? Cool, I can dance. And it's just like, okay, now we're together and here, carry my books. That is how I saw that entire relationship. So when this scene came on and him and Elphaba kind of again reconnected to see if that first meet was just kind of a fluke,
Mm-hmm.
so many emotions went through my head because I was like, okay, I get it. Yes, they have a better connection, but girl, that's your friend. You can't be doing that shit to your friend. Like,
I mean, I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
she was trying to get him in the moment, but I think she was
No,
feeling the
absolutely not.
vibes.
Yeah.
Elphaba's
Yeah.
a homewrecker.
She
Literally,
is homewrecker.
Dorothy's house got wrecked.
It went full circle. I liked it. I thought it was fun. I there was one small scene. It was a very quick scene where Glinda wakes up after the
Mm-hmm.
poppy thing, and
Mm-hmm.
she kind of looks and she makes this kind of very weird kind of facial expression, and it's like, oh, there it is. Why are they both missing? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like catching your friend with your boyfriend in the dorm and being like, why is the bed unmade?
Just wait for Act Two. But I'm not that girl. It's an okay song. I feel for Elphaba. I'm sad that she feels sad that she can't have the man that she wants.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's of anything that could be skipped, I would skip that.
Well, the only thing is that I feel like it's a mix of emotions, right? She just found out this whole thing about the teachers, right? Well, not she
Uh-huh.
just found out, but it's very now in her face, like this person, this go that she admired just got fired, and now she's finding out that, oh, they're firing all of them, and here's this cub, and she's like, she's in her, I gotta fight for this thing that I believe in, at the same
Mm-hmm.
time that she's presented with these emotions for Fiyero, and it's a very kind of like a mixture of what's going on, things being out of your control and raw emotions, and I like the scene for that. The song, not as memorable, but
Yeah.
with the song comes the feeling.
I just, for someone who's so driven by her emotions, her harnessing and using her emotions and reacting with them, it is difficult to see her choose not to follow what she's feeling. I don't know. It's just for me, snooze, a bit of a snooze.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But then, um, so because Elphaba lifted the poppy flower seeds and put everyone to sleep, and Madame Morrible walks into finding that, Madame Morrible writes to the wizard and the wizard gets back. So now Elphaba gets to go to meet the wizard. And there's a pretty long scene. I think it's way shorter. Like, I think this scene is mostly put in for the movie. I can't speak to how much of actually it is on the Broadway show, but there's a lot that happens kind of very fast. Glinda lets Elphaba know that Fiyero has been distant and weird and thinking about stuff. Fiyero shows up, is really into Elphaba, and then Glinda reacts to this, so she changes her name to Glinda, not Galinda. It's now Glinda. And then Nessarose runs away because Bach is being way too into Glinda in this moment. And then Elphaba leaves and asks Glinda to join. It's a very long scene. It's a scene that has a lot happening into it.
Okay, in Wizard of Oz, it's Glinda, right?
It's Glinda.
Okay, because when the movie started, I was like, wait, have I been wrong this whole time? Have I just thought it was Glinda and it's been Galinda this whole time? That just gave me life. The fact that she would say it like that and then she changed it. Like, all right, cool. That's what it's gonna be now.
I mean, it's the start of her persona because this
Yeah.
is like the day. Because from this train ride, it is all one continuous day until the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like when she puts on that persona of Glinda the Good Witch, and then it's going to go even further now that she's under the direction of Madame Morrible. And One Short Day is a great song. I love One Short Day. They did so many good things in this. The Emerald City set is fantastic. I don't know if you got to watch that like NBC special that aired before the movie came out, but they filmed it on the set of the Emerald City, and it was just really cool.
No, I didn't see it. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
It's on Peacock.
Okay, good to know.
Mm-hmm. And then you get Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel showing up in the Wicked movie.
It's so unexpected. I did not know that was going to happen. And it was a great scene. I thought it was so funny.
It was a great scene. They did perfect because they're kind of giving the energy they gave on screen on stage of like Kristen is kind of giving Glinda and Idina's kind of giving Elphaba, and like how they were acting and the mannerisms of what they were doing was really fun. I knew that Kristen was going to be in the movie because a picture got leaked of her in the background from one of the trailers. But to this extent and for this long, I was not surprised. And then they kind of like send the two off. Idina Menzel fixes Cynthia Erivo's hat and then like pushes her away, and that's so like that's so.
I love
that's
what
so.
Yeah, that was amazing. I like what Kristen Chenoweth did with Ariana, where she just shut up, stop. Like
it's so good.
It's my time. It was just like very, and the way Ariana reacted, it was very much Glinda of both of them, but their own version of Glinda.
Yes.
Which was amazing. I was just like, what a way to tie in, what a way to pay homage without overbearing, because when both Kristen and Idina came into the scene, I mean, so much could have gone wrong in a way to overpower the characters that we were already following.
Yeah.
And they could have made them about the Broadway characters, and it wasn't. It was very much homage. This is what we're doing. It was a fresh thing that they did, because me with my limited knowledge, I felt like, oh, this cannot be in the musical. Obviously, this is like an added thing, and I like what they're doing with this.
They go to Wizomania, but I don't think it's as long explaining like what the Grimmery is and the plot of it. I can't speak to that. I have not seen the Broadway show in a while. I kind of avoided it because I didn't want to like have the book memorized before I saw the movie. Book and a musical refers to like the actual script, and then you have your songs, which are part of the script but are like written by someone else than the book of the musical is. If you didn't know those terms.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, One Short Day is pretty fun. I love the tune of it. It's a wonderful song, and that gets us to meeting the Wizard of Oz. And the big practical robot face that they made for the wizard is outstanding.
Outstanding? What do you mean, outstanding?
Like, I really liked it. It's outstanding.
Oh, okay, wait. I was like, wait, they called him the Astounding Wizard of Oz?
No, he's Oz the Great
Right.
and Terrible.
Okay, if I'm not mistaken, then they kind of touched it on this on, I think, on this movie as well. But and maybe part of my knowledge is from the show Once Upon a Time. I don't remember where I got this from, but as far as what I know about the wizard is he is a dude from like our reality that was, I don't know, in some circus or something and was in a balloon, and then he got lost and apparently is in a different dimension now in the land of Oz, and he kind of started everything, and he was like an engineer or something, and he made people believe that he was magic, but he's not. Is that the whole thing?
I mean, that's what people do with the wizard, but that's not what like the Wizard of Oz book has, or that the wizard, like the wizard is a real figure in the Wizard of Oz. Like, it's every other thing that shows like how much of a facade it is, and there's a facade in the Wizard of Oz, but no.
Okay.
Like, I can't speak to that being this with context of the wizard.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to learn more though, like in the future.
Yes. Act 2 will answer those questions, which is why I'm being vague. But you get his song, you get Jeff Goldblum singing a song after it's revealed to him that it is Elphaba. He stops doing his like big wizard face metal thing that I said was really cool.
It looked really cool.
And he kind of it looked really cool. Like the fact that they did that practically, I think it's just a testament to like how much they care about doing this movie, which I am very thankful for. And A Sentimental Man that Jeff Goldblum sings is an okay song. It's just like, you gotta vibe with it. It's towards the end of the movie. I'm kind of feeling the time. We still had like 20 minutes of time to go left in the movie, so it's kind of like you could feel the time of this movie. It's a little bit too long. I like The Sentimental Man. I just don't like how it needs to fill in stuff about Oz. Like, this is how the Yellow Brick Road was named. I don't think we really needed that.
Yeah, I thought it was very like, oh, we'll make it red and we'll make it green. No, you know what? Yellow would be amazing. I just thought it was like, okay, yeah, we get it.
Mm-hmm. It's very Captain Marvel, how Nick Fury got his eye taken out. Or even worse, that the fact that the plane was called the Avenger. Craziness. So the wizard, Madame Marvel, shows up. They get Elphaba to read the grimoire, and Elphaba accidentally causes all of the monkeys to have wings. And that sets her off into knowing, like, the wizard doesn't have any power. How did this, like, big twist reveal? What were your reactions toward the end of this movie?
Well, I kind of knew that, right? That's one of the pieces of Wizard of Oz lore that I kind of already knew, that the wizard was kind of like fake and he was just the dude behind the mask. So it didn't really do anything for me. I think the acting from Cynthia Erivo really showed how the character reacted to this bombshell news, because it's kind of like finding out God is a fake, you know, or like whatever deity you believe in, that it's like, oh, it's not real. This has all just been like a facade, and we're just puppets, and we're just being messed around and pushed around to do other people's bidding and will, and it didn't feel right. And Cynthia Erivo acted her heart out during those scenes, especially the runaway scenes. I mean, I thought it was very well done.
The runaway scenes were really cool. They added a lot of tension, especially when they're in the hot air balloon, and that trying to escape was really well done. It added like a good amount of tension and drive to the finale of this movie, which made Defying Gravity hit all the more because you know what they've been through to get away, and how dire their situation is.
Yeah.
I love the ending of this movie. Like, getting into Defying Gravity, it's just amazing.
Yeah,
Perfect. No notes.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. The ending of this movie was great. I mean, going into Defying Gravity, again, the other song I knew from this, obviously I knew Idina's version, which is amazing. Cynthia Erivo did so many different things with the singing of this song. Again, these actresses did such a wonderful job to make these characters really their own. And I know that that expression gets thrown into so many different things. You know, it's very easy to say, oh, you made this character your own, and what does that really mean? Well, I mean, you just have to really look at both, because I've seen clips of Idina doing it, even in just the voice. You could tell that they're very different characterizations. They get their feelings. You feel the way they sing the songs in different parts for each of them.
Yes,
differently.
I agree. There's also like a big difference in what this means to each character. I don't know if that makes sense. I got chills going into Defying Gravity, like the tension of the scene, and when the lyrics start coming on, there's just chills. Like, I know what's coming. The tone is really hitting me. I was in the vibe. I started yawning though both times I saw it during Defying Gravity. It's just such a long movie, but I still like beginning to end of it. It's amazing. I don't love how much they cut the song, like, if they make sense. Like, the pace of the song, and then they have like 30 seconds of extra scenes and dialogue in between parts of the song that aren't supposed to have any into it, and it kind of just drags it out when it doesn't need to be. It's a pretty good tight song anyways. That was my thing. Like, I don't like the unlimited part at the end of it. When she's falling, I don't like that part of the movie is good. I don't like it in the soundtrack.
The part that really kind of got me was, but I guess it makes sense for the movie. It's when she says "fly" and she immediately starts flying, right? And her voice kind of fades. You know, it gets rough and it fades because it's moving through wind. It's you know, you're flying literally.
Yeah.
I expected a different one because obviously the Idina version is different, and I was more expecting that kind of high, but it was different, and I liked it. I'm like, these little kind of things. The one thing that I was like, what the fuck, is like her cape kept getting bigger and bigger.
But you have to watch the stage musical. So in the end of Act 1, she is given this huge cape so that when she flies up, it's just like filling the space behind her, and she looks like she's up higher in the air. She's this big, imposing figure. And I was in awe that they did it and were able to capture that same vibe on screen with the movie. I loved it. It is funny out of context without knowing it that it's getting bigger. It's very much like the one dude's hat in one of the Scary Movie movies. Or is it? It's some police officer's hat in one of them. I don't know.
Yeah, the Trooper movie, I think. No, yeah, I definitely got that at the end, that final scene where she's going to do the battle cry, and the cape is just like so huge. It is impressive. It looks right. The lighting is right. She looks right. The battle cry was all her own, and it was wonderful.
Down. Yeah. I love it. I love her battle cry. I love it became a meme with the Target ad that she did. Oh, I love it. She did so good. I can't wait for part 2.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what's in store for it.
There should have been an original song in this movie for Oscar.
Maybe we'll
I
get that
think
in the
it's
next.
well, we are getting 2 in the next one, but I think it was a missed opportunity not to try to add something else into this one, just for like award's sake. Get an award. They deserve it. We've reached the
Yeah,
end
great.
of the Wicked
Yes,
movie.
great end to the
Are there
movie.
any last thoughts you want to get out for this movie? Just overall, like, conclusion of Wicked.
I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Mm-hmm.
I had so much fun watching this movie. It was very unexpected. I did want to watch this movie because I'm like, I know that the I know that the theater production was very popular, but I'm like, I want to go
Mm-hmm.
see what this is all about, and I'm glad I did. I'm excited to see what's in part 2. Part of me wants to go exploring, like do a deep dive in some things, but part of me also wants to be like, I just want to be surprised for the next one. So I think that's what I'll
I
do.
feel that.
I'll take a
Yeah, that's
break.
kind of what I am at. I'm at, like, I want to watch productions of the musical. I want to listen to the songs of Act 2 and get the same amount of enjoyment I have for Act 1 with Act 2, but then I'm like, or I could go into the movie kind of sort of blind. I just don't know, like, the order of what happens when it happens, um, and go in that way. So I have an entire year to figure that out. I love this movie. This movie is near perfect. It did everything I wanted it to and more. It gives me the warm, comfort, fun vibes that I need with a movie musical, and why I love movie musicals so much. I just really loved it.
I think the most I'll do is I'll go watch The Wizard of Oz with a different kind of appreciation for it. I think.
Yeah,
I think it's different. I'm definitely watching it with different eyes and with a different
but
perspective.
it's hard. You say that, but then me rewatching The Wizard of Oz, it's hard not to just think all of the lore that comes from the Wicked movie. You saying that, it makes me think of, because I rewatched Wizard of Oz to prepare for this movie, and I have all the lore of Wicked in my head. So all I was thinking about was that lore while I watched Wizard of Oz, and it kind of, that isn't what Wizard of Oz is. So it kind of like took me out
Mm-hmm.
of it even more because I want the Wicked stuff more than the regular Wizard of Oz stuff.
I could see that, but I see. I think my overactive brain thinks of it in both ways. Like, what if it's like an alternate universe kind of thing, where like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
we do have the story of Wizard of Oz, but then what if the Wicked stuff is canon to it, and how would that affect how I see that story? I'm just excited to watch and see what that means for me.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm happy for you. I can't do it. It's not possible with my brain.
well, it'll be my
But
first time watching it in its entirety, so
mhm,
I'm
I'm
only
happy
doing
for
this to
you.
myself once.
Do it. So that kind of brings us to the end of this episode. Upcoming, we have a few ideas. We're gonna do like a little bit of a yearly wrap up of everything that we loved from 2024. And then Marvel Studios What If Season 3 kicks off, I think, December 22nd. So we might get into that entire show. But as always, if there's anything that y'all want us to cover or any ideas for something you want us to talk about, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the reviews. Give us a 5-star review. Oscar, where can the people find you and the podcast at?
You can find me at Ion Source on Twitch and Instagram, and you can find the podcast at the Bear Watch Project X on Instagram and the Bear Watch Project wherever you get your podcasts. And where can they find you?
I'm at Garrett_Odin23 on Instagram, and then Grizzly Reviews on YouTube and TikTok. Oscar, thank you so much for talking about Wicked with me. I'm glad that you were open to doing a movie, and it was this movie as our first movie to cover.
I know, you got lucky.
I'm really happy because I love it. I can talk about this movie for hours, which we did. This is a very long episode, so I guess we should end it. So thank you everyone who listened, and we will see you all in the next one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.